Hello, my name is Christopher Sharp and I'm a journalist, and what we're going to do for the next few minutes is have a chat specifically about this, a big blue truck, specifically the Isuzu D-Max V-Cross, the sort of top of the range version of Isuzu's latest pickup offering. And what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a walkthrough. I'm going to tell you what it's like under the front, what it's like under the back, what it's meant to look like underneath, and what it looks like inside. At the end of all that, I'll tell you what I think, because it's been a week with the Isuzu. I tell you what, there's been more than just a pickup truck. But before we get to that, let's take a look under the bonnet, shall we? And what we've got under the bonnet is an inline four-cylinder diesel engine, pumping out around 162 brake horsepower and producing 360 Newton meters of torque, which makes this 2-ton pickup truck capable of pulling a 3.5-ton load, or carrying, in the flatbed out there, 1 ton of weight. Speaking of which, why don't we take a look? Here we are at the back, or rather in the back. You see this payload, which is 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, can withstand a payload of around 1 ton. Now the reason why I can't give that to you in liters like I would with standard cars, because the standard D-Max comes without a cover. This cover, in fact, as has been explained to me, is third party. And I've just noticed it comes with these small windows. Don't know why, but they do. But no matter what's in here, they're going to have quite a comfy ride. Let me explain. Right, now we've talked about the upside, it's time to talk about the underside. You see, the Isuzu is a little bit different to some cars on sale, and it has a separate body and chassis. Now here's a history lesson incoming. At the beginning of car building, quite a few cars, in fact most cars, had a separate body, which was then put on top of a chassis. They would put the two together and attach them like so. Now, as the decades have passed, quite a few modern cars have this sort of system where sort of the body and chassis are kind of one and the same thing. You can't really separate the two. Now, the reason why Isuzu has stuck with a separate body and chassis for the D-Max is not because they don't know about the technology. Far from it, they're in business for a reason and successful too. It's because it makes more sense for what, at the end of the day, these pickups will be used for, because they won't be used for going down or through Chelsea or Knightsbridge. No, they're going to be used by businesses, by contractors, by people who go on rough roads all over the country. And I'm not just talking about the roads in some of the UK cities. You know, they're going to be workhorses. And if you've got a workhorse, you need to have easy access to the oily bits if something goes wrong. It really is a classic case of it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that sort of extends to the suspension. Yes, it's got modern and adaptable suspension and drivetrains, but behind these 18-inch wheels, you've also got leaf springs. Now, if you know your cars, you'll be familiar with the fact that leaf springs appeared on cart horses, old carriages, and occasionally old American muscle cars as well. But they're here as well, not just because they work, but because they also provide comfort for those inside. Speaking of which, I think it's about time we looked in there, because there's a bit of a surprise. So, dear friends, we have arrived at last at the interior, and this is where things get a lot more 21st century. You see, inside you can expect leather seats, heated seats, you can get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, amongst all other technical gubbins. But you've also got enough cubby holes here for all your sweets, treats, AirPods, headphones. Other brands are available. But there is one thing about this Isuzu that makes it slightly different from other cars I've tested over the past 2 years. You see, part of the routine of getting in a modern car, particularly really modern, is that you have to go through and turn off some of the driving assist. Now, we're not talking about traction control or anti-lock brakes. I'm talking about stuff like lane assist, or the bongs that go off when you change from one speed limit zone to another. Some vehicles you have to go through submenu after submenu, and they have to ring a bell, pull a toggle, call a whale. But this, it is refreshingly simple. It starts off by getting into it, and assuming you're not trying to keep in shot, press the start-stop button. Lots of bonging goes off. Turn off the bonging, wait for the screen to load, press continue. Then, at this point, you would have to go into menu 3000, and you'd spend the rest of your day trying to find it. But here you just press this button here. Then there they are. You've got your lane assist, which you can turn off if you so desire. You've got the bong, which you can also turn off, and when you're done, you can go back, and then if you've got Apple CarPlay or Android Auto activated, go back to it. And it just shows that they've thought about making your life easier, not just more adaptable, not just more customizable, but just easier and simpler. And one final thing. I haven't been testing cars for very long, but I've been very lucky to test quite a few of them in a short period. And no other vehicle or truck or car has elicited such a passionate or interested response from my family or those close to me. It's been a bit like having a golden retriever online. People come up to it and they smile and they want to know more. And yes, this wouldn't be my daily driver. It would be something else, probably a little bit smaller and a little bit more powerful. But still, as a experience to drive it as a vehicle with a friendly presence, at around 40 to 41,000 pounds starting, yes, it's cheaper than a Mercedes G-Wagon and more expensive than some used Range Rovers, if you look hard enough. But it is still definitely a competitor. It's still worthy of your consideration, not just for its usability, but also for its affability. It's been truly wonderful having it. And yes, it's got issues, don't get me wrong. But so do humans as well. I'm going to miss it because it's been really jolly terrific.